What's going on, guys? My name is Nick. Welcome to Nick Talks Batman. This video is titled, Why Am I a Batman Fanatic? So I want to do a little bit different of a video today. Instead of having it scripted and highly edited, I just kind of want to talk from the heart. And in today's video, I'm going to tell you why I'm a Batman fanatic. So this is kind of a loaded question because this goes back a little over 30 years. And by me saying that, it kind of upsets me. It shows how old I am. Like, I'm at the age where I actually have to think how old I am. I believe I'm 36. Or 37. I'm not sure. I think I'm 30. I'm 36. I don't know. I've been a Batman fan since I was about 5. And how it started was I was on vacation and I stopped at a store with my parents, and my mother brought me down the toy aisle, and I was looking at the action figures, and I chose 2 action figures. One was Batman, and the other one was the Penguin. And these were made by Kenner, and they were a part of the Batman the Animated Series toy line. And this was about 1993, and I picked those up. And after that, the rest was history. Around that time, Batman the Animated Series was out, and I started watching it. And everyone knows Batman the Animated Series. Amazing show. In my opinion, it's probably the definitive Batman. There's been a lot of Batmans over the years, and I feel like that version of the characters and that version of Batman and the storytelling and the design and everything, I feel like that really is the definitive Batman. You know, growing up, Batman the Animated Series was a huge part of my life. I remember getting home from school, the very first thing I did, I turned on the TV and I waited for Batman the Animated Series. And once those opening credits started, nothing in the world mattered, and I was just hooked. And I was so lucky to have grown up in that time where we were able to witness such a great show, and it was such a great intro to this character that I didn't know who he was. You know, I was only about 5 years old at the time, and the show was just done so well, and it was just really a special time, and I'm really lucky to have grown up in that time where that show was able to show you, you know, the magic of all these characters. I guess you could say I became obsessed with Batman. I was always collecting the toys, and obviously, like I said, I was always watching the show Batman the Animated Series. I did dress up as him once, I believe when I was 5 or 6. I dressed up as Batman for Halloween. That was pretty amazing. I mean, imagine being a kid dressing up as your hero. I mean, I can't think of anything better. Whenever I had a birthday, it seemed like I was always getting a Batman cake, which was pretty amazing. So I didn't really get to see the movies at the time because at the time Batman Returns was out, and if anyone's seen Batman Returns, it's definitely not a kid's movie. My parents really didn't let me see it, and Batman '89 was already out, but again, I mean, it was PG-13. My parents were kind of strict of what I watched, so I wasn't able to fully enjoy those movies until my later years in my teens because my parents were kind of strict of what I watched. I could really only watch the cartoons. I was introduced to the Adam West Batman show. In the first time that happened, it was the 1966 Batman movie with all the POW and the, you know, all those things. And of course I liked it because I was a kid, and of course anything Batman I loved. But looking back at it, it was a sillier version of Batman, but I mean, Adam West, you know, he does have a legacy, no matter if you liked him or not. He does have a legacy amongst all the actors that played Batman. But yeah, in the 90s, it was a really great time. It was a really great time to be a kid because in the 90s, it was really great to be a kid because you're still a kid, and kids still kind of use their imagination, whereas today everything is technology, and you know, kids didn't really play with action figures and stuff like that. And when I was a kid, me and my friends, we'd always play with the Batman figures and other figures, and it was a really great time to be a kid. And I'm glad to have grown up in that era where, I became a Batman fan. After the 2000s, I wasn't as big into Batman. And I think a big reason for that was because, you know, after 97, I believe I believe Batman and Robin came out in 97, and we all know what happened. It was a terrible movie, and it just killed the Batman character. And Batman didn't hit the big screens until 2005 in Chris Nolan's Batman Begins. So there's kind of like a big gap of when I was really into Batman, because they really weren't showing Batman in the theaters because it had done so bad with Batman and Robin. But it definitely got restored when Batman Begins hit the theaters. I'll never forget the day that I went to go see that. And it was such an amazing movie, and it's still one of my favorite Batman films. Batman Begins was just amazing. Batman Begins really brought Batman back to his dark roots, because I feel like in the second half of the 90s, he just became too campy, just too it wasn't dark enough. And Batman is a dark character, and I understand where the studio was coming from, because with Batman Returns they got a lot of complaints from the parents, and they didn't want to lose money, but they just completely stripped the character down too much, to the point where he was just it just wasn't Batman. And thank God for Chris Nolan, because he put Batman back on the map. I mean, he took Batman to such new heights. And Batman Begins is just one of my favorite Batman films. It's such an amazing film, and I'll never forget the day I went to see it. Batman Begins finally gave us a film where they told the origin of Batman. And I think hardcore Batman fans, they know the origin of Batman. They know that he became Batman because his parents were killed, and he wanted to do it for vengeance. But you know, I think regular people really don't know that. And they brought Batman back to basics. They showed the audience why Bruce Wayne became Batman, and I think it was really important. And then of course we have The Dark Knight. I mean, I still remember going to see that as well. And I remember sitting in the theater, and I remember when the opening scene was about to start, you could hear a pin drop in the movie theater. It was that the tension, you could just feel everyone, the anticipation in the room, waiting for this amazing film. And I was just floored. And I remember walking out of the theater that night. I was so proud to be a Batman fan. And the movie never gets old. I mean, the movie's a classic, and I don't think it will ever be surpassed by any superhero movie. It's just the movie's king. I don't think it will ever be passed, and I will always remember that movie. Now, I showed you a lot of my collection. I collect a lot of Batman stuff. I have the statues, I have Hot Toys. It's definitely a big passion of mine, collecting, the Hot Toys and the statues. And, I have pretty much all the DVDs and the movies, and it's such a big passion of mine. The thing that I love about Batman is he's just so different than other superheroes. And I think technically speaking, he's not really a superhero. He's more of a vigilante. And I just feel like with the other superheroes, it's not easy to relate to them because they all have superpowers. But Batman, he doesn't have any superpowers. He fights because he wants to. He fights because he has a burning passion to rid the city of crime in Gotham City. And he does it because he's doing this for his parents. His parents were killed at a young age. He obviously has a lot of trauma. And I think to some extent, I think everyone's got some type of trauma um, from their past, and Batman uses that as fuel to fight crime in Gotham City. And I think everybody can relate to that. The other thing is, Batman has the best rogues gallery out of any of the superheroes. Nobody can touch Batman's rogues gallery. Like, I feel like, you could go up to anybody and ask them, name one of Batman's villains. Of course, most people are going to say the Joker, but there's other ones that they can name, like the Penguin, the Riddler. Like, there's so many amazing villains in his rogues gallery. And I feel like with all the other superheroes, like, you can't say that. Like, if you went up to someone and you asked someone to name, a Superman villain, I feel like the normal person would have a little bit of trouble. Even with Spider Man, I feel like they would have a little bit of trouble. But with Batman, most people would say either Joker or the Riddler or the Penguin. And I think that says a lot. It says a lot that the world can recognize all the characters that are a part of your world. And I think that says a lot about the Batman character. I mean, he's been around since 1939 and he's still going strong, and he's just an amazing character. As you can see, I do have a lot of tattoos, and a lot of my tattoos are actually Batman themed. And as you can see, I have the Joker on my neck. And then here, I have a Batman villain sleeve. And maybe I'll do a video on that. I'll go through all the tattoos I have. But, as I said, Batman has been a big part of my life. He's been a part of my life for over 30 years. And, that's why I got Batman tattoos. I think he's a great character, and I love the Batman Rogues Gallery, and I'm a proud Batman fan. Well, anyways, that's my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry for rambling. I will see you in the next video. Take care.